Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you up to date on the Ridgecrest Planning Commission meeting, yesterday's Board of Supervisors meeting, police arrests, a car fire, and more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
I'm Tom Whitnick, and here's what's news in the Indian Wells Valley. Last evening, the Ridgecrest Planning Commission met for their regular meeting. They had a lot on their agenda. In a continued public hearing, they discussed revised tentative tract maps 6700 with 55 lots and map 6775 with 77 lots located at the southwest corner of Springer Avenue and College Heights Boulevard. They approved changes to the requirements on the tract maps. The requested changes were mostly dealing with the sump and landscaping requirements. The Commission approved the request changes as they felt they were actually better than had been originally required. Next, they had public hearings to decide code enforcement abatements of the following properties. Properties at 1101 West Benson, a property at 305 North Florence, and a property at 212 South Primrose. There was also a property at 1135 North Inyo on the agenda, but it was continued to next meeting. Ridgecrest Police Code Enforcement Officer Fred Booth provided all the history of all the properties listed. All these properties were vacant, run-down homes in a state of disrepair and a danger to the health of the neighborhood where they are located. Booth said that numerous attempts were made to get the owners to correct the violations. The first one on the list and brought the most discussion was 1101 West Benson out in Ridgecrest Heights. This was one where a person moved a double-wide modular home onto an open lot in Ridgecrest Heights with no permit. The owner spoke at the meeting and expressed that he had done hundreds of these the same way before. The owner said he attempted to get the permits to finish the project, but found out there were $20,000 in permits. He had estimated they would only be $12,000. He can't afford the $20K. A couple commissioners questioned his intent and what he planned on doing. One commissioner asked where this home came from. The owner was very evasive in the answer and really never said where the home came from. Also, it was mentioned that if he had done so many of these before, then he had to know the permit requirements or had just gotten away with it in the violations in the past. One commissioner said, "That does not change anything now." A number of surrounding neighbors offered comment that they were upset with the violation. They pleaded with the commission to approve the abatement for many reasons. One person said, "Getting away with doing it wrong in the past doesn't make it okay now." The owner basically said he can't do anything until another property he was trying to sell sells. The commissioners asked the owner point blank, "Are you going to do it right or not?" At first he said he needed more time. That wasn't good enough with the commissioners. When asked again, the owner was obviously agitated and said, "I guess I have to." The commissioners approved the code enforcement officer's May 12th deadline to abate the problem or the city would do it and charge the owner. The next two abatements were all approved by the commissioners as well. There was no public comments on the others. Next on the agenda, they held a public hearing to consider the Monroe School neighborhood sidewalk construction project and a downstreet bicycle lane and sidewalk construction project. The Monroe project involves getting all the sidewalks completed around the Monroe Middle School. The commissioners approved this project. On the downstreet bicycle lane and sidewalk construction project, they were briefed about how they could use the program to do all the sidewalks along South Down Street from Ridgecrest Boulevard to Upjohn. After a good discussion, the commissioners approved this project as well. They also looked at the SCE Downstreet Substation Landscape Plan. The main point was that SCE objected to the currently approved landscape plan that the city required. Their objection was mostly for security reasons. The landscaping was intended to help shield the station from public view at the large substation site at Downs and Ridgecrest Boulevard. The city staff had no problem with changing the plan. They had met with SCE representatives and already pretty much decided the best way to do the landscaping. So after considerable discussion, the commission voted to have staff retract their previous plan and work with SCE to get a new plan. And finally, they discussed China Lake medium art recommendations. There was a good report given by the commissioners that are sitting on the median art committee. The actual purpose of the agenda item was for the commission to pass a resolution recommending the city council file with Caltrans for an encroachment permit to allow the city to install the median art. One member of the public took exception to one proposed piece of art from the committee meeting. There is one proposed piece that depicts an ancient Indian throwing what appears to be an ancient long arrow. The concern expressed was with the potential of a car hitting the piece and it falling over with the tip of the arrow possibly penetrating into a vehicle, or worse, a person. The commenter insisted that when they start approving the art pieces, that the chief of police also should be included with the approvals. While the meeting wasn't really about approving any art or not, they did have a discussion about it, but nothing was decided. Ultimately, Caltrans will be the final approving authority on what goes in or doesn't go in on China Lake Boulevard, as it is their roadway. Finally, the Commission did vote to recommend it to the Council to request the encroachment permit from Caltrans. Last Sunday, April 26, a woman was arrested for stabbing a Ridgecrest man in the back with a kitchen knife in the 500 block of North Oasis Drive Sunday. According to a release from the Ridgecrest Police Department, on Sunday, April 26, Officer Joseph Clinton and Detective Merzlak of the Police Department received an anonymous call to 516 North Oasis Drive for a report of a possible victim of a stabbing. Upon officers' arrival, they came into contact with the victim, who suffered from 2 stab wounds to his back. Doreen Stuckey, 23, had stabbed the victim 2 times in the back with a kitchen knife. The victim received medical aid and declined transportation to Ridgecrest Regional Hospital. Stuckey was arrested on charges of assault with a deadly weapon and domestic violence. She was later transported to Central Receiving Facility in Bakersfield. Her bail was set at $75,000 by the Kern County Sheriff's Office. Stuckey was still listed as being in custody at the Central Receiving Facility as of 11 p.m. Monday. In Kern County news, the County Board of Supervisors did meet in Bakersfield on the Indian Wells Valley Land Use Management Plan. But as staff recommended, the agenda item was continued to their May 13th meeting to be held here in Ridgecrest. So no public comment was taken. The meeting will be at 1 p.m. in the afternoon in the Ridgecrest City Council chambers. In city fire news, yesterday there was a car fire on Sunland and East Church. As I was on pack duty yesterday, I had noticed a beautiful old pink Cadillac driving around town. I couldn't help but notice it. A short time later in the afternoon, dispatch called to patrol officers of a car fire. The fire turned out to be that beautiful vintage 1959 pink Cadillac. There was fire and smoke coming from out from under the hood. The fire department was able to contain the fire to under the hood. They also did a great job of not ruining all the work that had been done to refurbish this vintage car. Damage was kept to a minimum. Stay tuned for news out of the Ridgecrest Police Department and our local gas prices. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Jolene for this week's Critter Connection out of the Ridgecrest Animal Shelter.
Hi everyone, I'm Jolene Sen from KZGN-TV, and I'm here with Mary at Ridgecrest Animal Shelter, and this is Waldo. So tell me a little bit about Waldo.
Waldo is an orange tabby. He's about 1.5 years. He's a neutered male, very affectionate, very loving, loves to sit on your lap, loves to hang out on your shoulder, and just give you little hugs and kisses.
He also seems very playful. He was already playing with you before you even took him out. So.
Oh yeah, he is very playful, so he would be good for a family of children or just a senior who wants a cat that will sit on her lap.
Yeah, he seems like a very relaxed little guy. Is he good with other pets and children?
Yeah, he's good with dogs. I've had him around my German Shepherd Ruby, and he's good with other cats. He's very playful, very curious. So he would do good in a multi-animal household.
Apparently he loves giving kisses too. Okay, is there a number to contact or?
Yeah, you can call the animal shelter at 760-499-5190. We're open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5, and Saturday, 10 to 4. We're closed Sundays and Mondays. And you can see all of our animals on our website. On Facebook, Ridgecrest Facebook Animal Shelter page, and just come down to the shelter. We have a lot of nice, lovely animals.
Okay, and I also want to remind everybody that there is a special going on that ends tomorrow, so
come down, and any black or black and white animals are only $10.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Waldo. I'm Jolene Sen from KZGN-TV.
Yesterday afternoon, the Ridgecrest Police received a report of a stolen bicycle, that the theft was happening and being observed by a citizen. These observing citizens got in their vehicle and followed the thief and reported real-time location information as police officers converged on the area. In only minutes, officers entered the area from two directions and cornered the thief riding the bike. The thief was arrested and booked into jail. A short time later, the owner of the bike identified the bike and took it home. Kern County kicks off May as Foster Care Awareness Month. There is a nationwide story of a Santa Ana police officer who found an abandoned newborn in a garbage dumpster. He was reunited with the now 25-year-old man he helped to rescue. Kern County Department of Human Services, along with all its community and professional partners serving Kern County's foster children, joined the celebration of the dedicated individuals and professionals who opened their hearts and homes to care for the nearly 2,000 children placed in out-of-home care in Kern County. Today, the Kern County Board of Supervisors proclaimed May as Foster Care Awareness Month at 9 a.m. The event was open to the public. Foster youth will be celebrated a little early this year on Thursday, tomorrow, April 30th, at the annual Independent Living Program graduation. This year's event will be at Coconut Joe's Beach Club. It will be an exclusive celebration of the 90 youth graduating from the Independent Living Program. Foster parents and social workers will be celebrated Thursday, May 8th, at hotels beginning 5:30 p.m. As the Department of Human Services and Bakersfield College Foster and Kinship Care Education Program host a dinner and training. The topic of this year's training is Healing Hearts and Minds Through Trauma-Informed Care. This yearly event works to support current resource families, both foster and families through continued training. Several families will be honored for their outstanding care provided our foster children. We are always in need of loving families willing to open their hearts and homes to Kern County's foster children, especially those willing to take care of teens, sibling groups, and children with special medical needs. If you are interested in becoming a resource foster family, your first step is attending an orientation. Orientations in English are provided in Bakersfield on the second and fourth Thursday of every month. Orientations begin promptly at 5:30 p.m. Please call 661-631-6204 for information. With the end of winter in sight, refinery output expected to slow down as refiners conduct typical seasonal maintenance. Even refineries that are up and running sometimes reduce production at this time of year. They'll soon switch to making more expensive summer gasoline that is formulated to meet clean air rules, and they don't want to be stuck with unsold winter gas. That reduced production depletes supplies and causes gas prices to rise as the U.S. driving season approaches. California and the Pacific Northwest are also at risk for higher prices because both regions rely so heavily on relatively small number of refineries. As of this morning, Ridgecrest is ranging from 315 to 375, Lancaster's going from 325 to 379, the LA Valley area is showing 329 to 359, and the Bishop area is going from 323 to 365. We have 5 stations coming in at the 315 figure. Thankfully, Ridgecrest prices are holding steady. The cheapest price in the Lancaster area is still more than Ridgecrest. All other areas we monitor are now more than Ridgecrest as well. Way to go, Ridgecrest gas stations. We are providing these prices 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Of course, we at KZGN always suggest you fill up here to support our local economy. Remember, when you're paying sales tax out of town, you are helping those cities pave their streets instead of here. Stay with us for sports and weather when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather. Is it going to be hot out there, Keith?
It's looking like things are heating up, Tom, but before I get to our local weather, here's a look at the region. In the New England area, things are finally warming up and drying out for those folks in the Northeast. Temperatures in the upper 40s to 50 degrees for them. Moderate temperatures across the Midwest reaching all the way to the West Coast with temperatures in the 60s to upper 70s. But down in the Gulf of Mexico, a storm system will bring rain and thunderstorms across parts of the Southeast, mainly across Florida, Georgia, and coastal sections of the Carolinas. There is a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms developing across the Florida Peninsula and extreme southeast Georgia. For us here locally in the IWE, tonight will be mostly clear with a low around 60, west wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday will be sunny with a high near 92, calm wind becoming south-southwest around 5 miles per hour. Thursday night will be partly cloudy with a low around 61, south-southwest wind 5 to 15. Friday will be mostly sunny with a high near 92, southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 57, west wind 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Saturday will be sunny with a high near 90, west wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that is your KZGN forecast for April 29th, 2015. With the warmer temperatures, keep yourselves hydrated and watch out for children, pets, and elderly. Now back to Tom and the rest of your KZGN news.
Thanks, Keith. Now let's go to Tom Heck with sports.
And a very pleasant Wednesday afternoon to everybody. Let's start with local note. Baseball for Burroughs High School going very well right now. Burroughs won again yesterday, 1-0. They beat Apple Valley. That game was here in town. Burroughs now 15-4 overall, 4-1 in the Mojave River League. John Bradley in his fourth year doing a tremendous job over at the high school. Girls softball, the softball team now 9 wins, 9 losses. They're 2-3 in league after they defeated Sultana yesterday at Sultana 14-5. They will take on Asperia here on Thursday. JVs and varsity will both play at 3:15. All right, NBA, Dallas, they're out. They lost to Houston last night. They lose that series 4-1. The Clippers, meanwhile, and the Spurs, boy, they sure had it out last night, and at the very end, the Spurs came on top. The Spurs now have a 3-2 lead. That game ended up finishing around 11 o'clock our time locally, and about 2 o'clock in the morning back on the East Coast. And if you were in San Antonio cheering for your team, it was just about 1 in the morning when things ended. That game came down to the wire. Again, Tim Duncan played probably like he's a 25-year-old, even though the guy's 39 years old. But they just had good bench play. Ricky Green played very well. They got some help from boards by a couple guys that have really picked things up, I think, in the playoffs. And that's the difference. I think the boards is the reason San Antonio is leading the Clippers right now by a game. The two teams will play Thursday night in San Antonio. That game will be broadcast on TNT. And if the Clippers can pull that one out, they'll play Game 7 at home on Staples Saturday afternoon at a time to be announced. All right, tonight Atlanta will play Brooklyn. Now that series, surprisingly, 2 games apiece. Brooklyn won the other night, Monday night, in overtime. Now the two teams will play Game 5 tonight in Atlanta. They'll go back on Friday night and play in Brooklyn, and then if needed, come back on Sunday to play in Atlanta for game number 7. Atlanta had the best record in the East last year. Portland on survival method right now. Portland will play at Memphis tonight. Portland down 3-1. They eked out game number 4 over in Portland the other night, but don't expect anything really surprising to happen. Although Mike Conlon not playing tonight for Memphis, that could make a difference. But again, Portland's going to have to play very, very well tonight to beat Memphis. They don't have Aaron Afalo, one of their best outside shooters. That really hurts. They don't have Wes Matthews, their best rebounder, average 16 points a game. That hurts also. All right, Major League Baseball real quick. Orioles and White Sox, 2 nights in a row. They couldn't play at Camden Yards due to the riots and the uprising in the Baltimore area. They're going to make it up as a doubleheader that's going to be played in Chicago, though. They'll lose 2 home games because of what happened. San Francisco beat the Dodgers last night 2-1. It was Houston over San Diego. Boy, the Astros are in first place right now. They have won 12 games. They are currently 12-7. Oakland beat the Angels up in the Bay Area 6-2 last night. Those two teams will play again tonight. Arizona, St. Louis, Minnesota, Chicago, Seattle, Cincinnati, Washington, and the Marlins also win last night. And Billy Donovan, who said he really had no interest in coaching in the NBA, guess what? He's talking to the Oklahoma City Thunder of the NBA. Donovan has been at Florida the last 12 years, and he accepted a job 2 years ago with Orlando and then turned it down and said, hey, I'm just not an NBA guy. but now all of a sudden interested in that Oklahoma City job. If that team's healthy, they could go a long way next year. The Thunder parted ways with Scott Brooks, who did an excellent job. Brooks was there for a total of 6 years in Oklahoma City. That's your sports for this Wednesday afternoon. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Thanks for watching.